Test. Council, tonight is our first item for study session. Director Dominic Recurso will introduce staff from BT and company, and they'll present the audit information for fiscal year 23.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. So this is everybody's probably second favorite presentation next to the annual budget meeting. So we are finishing up on the 2023 fiscal year audit. No small task, especially with all the new things we've had over the last couple of years. I like to think we've always done a great job putting everything together, getting ready for the auditors, presenting everything in writing financial statements, which is where we're at right now. I would like to present Director right there, Emily Sheldon. She's been with us almost actually longer than I've been here. So she's very familiar with the city, and she can answer any questions that you may have.
Good evening, everyone. As you said, my name is Emily Sheldon. I'm the principal of BT & Co. So we're the auditor of the city of Gladstone. And this evening we'll be presenting to you the results of the fiscal year 2023 audit. You have received a draft of a letter addressed to the mayor and city council. The letter summarizes the matters that we are required to bring to your attention about the financial statement audit. And for my presentation this evening, I will be going through the key points in that letter. In the letter, we address our responsibility to perform an audit in accordance with specific accounting standards. Those standards require us to perform procedures to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements are free of material mistake. Our procedures include examining on a test basis evidence supporting the amounts and disclosures in the financial statements. We also assess the accounting principles used and the significant estimates made by management, as well as evaluate the overall financial statement presentation. I am pleased to report that as a result of our audit, we determined that the fiscal year 2023 financial statements are presented fairly in all material respects in conformity with generally accepted accounting principles. And when we finalize the audit, we will issue an unmodified audit opinion, which is the best kind of opinion that the city can receive. In the letter, we would bring to your attention anything identified in the procedures we performed related to significant alternative, adopted, changed, or controversial accounting policies, and significant accounting policies in emerging areas, or significant unusual transactions. During the fiscal year, the city did adopt GASB Statement Number 96, Subscription-Based Information Technology Arrangements, which increases the usefulness of government's financial statements by requiring recognition of certain subscription assets and subscription liabilities that were previously unreported. The city does have several significant estimates that are summarized in the Summary of Significant Accounting Estimates section of the report. The total post-employment ability, net pension asset, fair value of investments, lease-related items, and subscription-related items as a result of the new standard. Our responsibility as auditors is to analyze the processes that the city has in place to make these estimates. And as a result of our work, we concluded that the city's estimates do appear reasonable. Audit adjusting entries were recorded as a result of our audit. These adjusting journal entries are predominantly what we call entity-wide adjusting entries, which are standard entries prepared solely to convert the city's fund level financial statements to government-wide financial statements, which use two different methods of accounting. I would also like to inform the City Council that during our audit, city management and staff were responsive and transparent with our team members, and we encountered no disagreements, significant issues, or difficulties in performing the audit. Finally, we have attached a copy of management's representation letter. That letter is the final step in the audit process and puts into writing matters that are required by our standards to be represented to us by management. The signing of this letter represents management's acceptance of the financial statements and is an indication that the audit report is ready to be finalized. We provide this letter to you because we believe it will help you, as a governing body, better understand the city's representations about its financial statements and help you fulfill your fiduciary responsibilities. The achievement of an excellent audit result, such as the city's, is a testament to both the city's preparedness for its audit, as well as maintaining good processes and controls in place throughout the entire year. not just the end. As such, I would like to thank Dominic, Robert, and the rest of the city staff for their assistance. And with that, are there any questions?
Questions? Anyone?
No, I don't have.
No. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mayor, for the second open study session topic, we'll be discussing the PSP grant. I know we discussed one option in the goal setting this year, but we've looking at some project variables and some variables. And then mainly talk about the construction increases, whether the roads, what the road district contribution would be, contingency needs. There's some variables in the fund that we were going to look at. One is the ATA obligation. We're not quite sure what that is, and we want to make sure that we have some flexibility in that fund to continue doing projects and doing aggressive street maintenance as we've done in the last few years. With that said, we are putting the COP package together in January, February to go out to market. So we need to be aggressive in how we look at this and how fast we move in putting the COP together. And that would mean that we would have to look at maybe some other options on the North Oak project. Not saying that the first option is still not on the table, but the event that one of these variables bites us, we probably need to have a plan B, and I wanted to put that plan B in front of you so we could move quickly and not have to worry about revising any design changes and stuff. So we're not dragging this out any farther because we need to be kind of nimble on putting the COP package together because we want to take advantage of the financing interest rates where they are right now. So with that said, Director Nevergall will actually discuss the project and some revised design option that we're putting before you to look at.
Mayor, City Council. A lot of what you're going to see tonight, I'm going to qualify this, is what you've seen before. We haven't really changed the overall plan. However, we've been working, as City Manager Bear stated, to finalize our costs, make sure our cost estimates are good in a volatile construction market still. They've settled a little bit, but they're still kind of all over the place. And then kind of like just looking at things like, okay, what if there is an issue with a property owner, how does that impact the project? Because as you know, Gladstone prefers not, eminent domain is a bad word in Gladstone. So with a project of this magnitude, one property owner can impact the project. So as City Manager Bear indicated, we just want to look at all the options, put them all out there, and just kind of go from there. So to start, this would be what the project could look like. This is what was in the original plan for Confluence. What we're looking at is still a center median, and the right of way is fairly narrow in that area. So what we were looking at was essentially removing the center turn lane, utilizing that for construction of the center median. That gives us room for green space. So right now, if you walk or bike North Oak, you can't hardly bike it. Walking it is kind of scary by itself because the sidewalks are directly behind the curb line. We want to get some green space between the curb line and the sidewalk. So the concept was to basically use that center turn lane to give us room for green space. And then at 69th Street and at 70th Terrace, a hybrid roundabout type feature that would allow folks to, if they miss their turn or if they need to get to the other side of the roadway, to the northbound and in the properties on the west, they could actually go up, turn around, come back to that property, so everyone would have access in each direction. So again, schematic of the overall layout with two hybrid roundabouts, one at 69th and one at 70th Terrace. Continuing on with that theme, we have met with the business owners, and each of them that would meet with us. I know we've met with the key business owners, and we refined that concept, that original concept, a little bit. Basically, the only change was north of 70th Terrace. We've shortened that center median a little bit. One of the concerns was if that center median continued up too far, we could conflict with traffic at 72nd though, because that's such a busy intersection. Plus, there's some businesses that would prefer to have a little bit better access with that. You know, if traffic were to stack up, it could actually impact the corridor. So that was a refined exhibit based upon our public meetings. So again, I think we're the wrong way. We're to see that. From that, we talked a little bit about just with the design team, but this hasn't moved beyond just sketches on paper. That's why you're seeing is exactly what you're seeing, sketch on paper. Is what if we were to reduce the scope of the project a little bit? If there was any right-of-way concerns, anything like that, how could we continue to make this project go forward? And what we looked at was a roundabout or hybrid roundabout again at 69th Street. And that is made possible primarily because the city has acquired a good chunk of that right away with the old Taco Bell site and that type of thing. And then eliminating a roundabout or hybrid roundabout at 70th Terrace. So we still wanted to maintain the look and feel of the project and kind of see how this could work. And what we came up with is actually a little bit wider center turn lane or center median, I should say, with some access to some other properties. So here you'll see this is Dominic's. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. So this is Dominic's. And so what we provided is a curb cut to Dominic's. We provided a curb cut to, and I think that's 70th Terrace. It's actually a public street.
Mhm.
So there would be access and no need for a potential roundabout at 70th Terrace. What we would have to do in this scenario would be is we'd actually probably have to acquire about 5 feet of right of way along the entire corridor, because what we would be doing is instead of using that 11 feet turn lane now for right of way, it would actually be a manicured median. So it's wider, provides a little bit of a protected left turn for folks, and still meets kind of the theme of the project where, okay, placemaking, all those kinds of things. You do landscaping, lighting, art, all those types of things. So this is just a sketch that we put on paper, and we just wanted to put in front of you, just because I have been involved with projects that have kind of ground to a halt because one particular property owner or another. So that's kind of what we were doing with this. Also, too, as I told you, we've been working on the costs. Going the wrong way. And so I put up 3 costs here. The one on the left, that's the cost estimate we put up at goal setting. And that is pretty close to what came out of the study. The cost estimate in the middle is the full project as it's been presented to you, as it was presented in goal setting, the double roundabouts or hybrid roundabouts. As you can tell, it's about $1 million more than what it was when presented at goal setting. And then the alternative concept is about 7.8 million. So it's kind of in line to what we presented at goal setting. And what we're looking at here is we can do any of these projects. It's just a matter of financing and making sure that it's reflected properly in TST. So anytime that the city takes on additional debt, this would be funded out of TST, and then any, I should say, extra funds in that goes to the annual street maintenance. So every $1 million we finance is about $75,000 over the course of the financing package. And what we're looking at now is a 20-year financing package. So, with rates at 5%, a couple of years ago, they were, I'm gonna say half that, they may not have been half that. We were looking at financing, windows of 8 to 12 years, not 20 years. So we just wanted to make sure that we're giving you the most up-to-date numbers with these cost estimates, and also, potential alternatives if the city chose to go a different direction. Now, I'm not saying that, I'm not advocating that. I just wanted to get the best numbers in front of you now, and just another option that we just kind of sketched out on paper to present to you, knowing that would bring up questions. So with that, I will stop talking and would be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Questions for Mr. Nebervall? Go for it.
Tim, may I borrow your pointer?
Yes.
And can you go back to the the map, the new second proposal. There we go. And then let's see, where's the the light? Oh, okay, here we go. All right, Tim. First of all, thank you for coming back with another plan. The elimination of the roundabout at 70th Terrace. I do have a question. I'm going to go right here. That roundabout right there, what is the width of that roundabout
Councilman,
approximately?
uh,
The width of a car, I hope.
it would be with.
Okay. And again, if I could see lane lines in there, it may answer my question. But if I'm coming down and I turn and I'm trying to go back north, if the traffic is so heavy that I can't get back into that turnaround lane to come back north, is the if it's wide enough for one car, great. But what if there's several cars that want to make that loop and we start backing up on the roundabout? Is that going to create a traffic hazard? Did that make sense?
Yeah.
To me, it did. But
So, one of the things that the consultant has been asked to do is they've created take the data for how you want to take it, but, they've created a synchro model of the entire corridor. And what that is that basically models traffic as it goes through the corridor. So they are going to be looking at things like that. 70th Street is one of them that we've asked them to make sure they look at. And then the Capital Improvements Committee has actually asked us to look at, and I know this is a different intersection, but to your point, the traffic model will be used to confirm that we are not creating an unsafe condition.
okay. And then let's see. It looks like this is called a transit shelter here, and then there's a transit shelter there. Are we looking at in the future bringing buses back into Gladstone, and that's why they're there?
No, this is a sketch, so.
Okay.
So
All right.
Confluence put this together for me.
Okay, I thought
To
maybe.
be honest with you, I would have had them take that out just because that's up in the air. But I do think it's prudent to at least somewhat consider it in the plan. So right now, I think ATA, that whole conversation is yet to be worked out. So
The only other comment that I have is, I'm looking at my diagram here. Okay, it looks like Margaritas is right here. Okay, if I'm coming to Margaritas and I'm coming south on North Oak, I don't have that turn lane there from the southbound lane into Margaritas. I'd have to come down, I guess, to where we have the traffic light now, and then come back around and try to get in through their back entrance there, or park in the parking lot that's over here. Do you foresee that being a problem, not having that access into Margaritas?
I don't. I mean, I can't speak for the ownership of Margaritas. And I mean, these are all things that we can look at through the design, but I mean, they have access from 70th Terrace. They could actually,
Yes.
70th Street, northbound has access. I mean, what you're seeing here is it's a little bit wider, so there's more ability to provide a protected left, if that makes sense. For the cars that want to make that left-hand turn. I guess to answer your question, I don't see that as an issue, but we can work out that as we go.
All right. I want to thank you for continuing to look at this. I feel better about it. I'm still not fully on board, but Tim, thank you. Here's your pointer back. Thank you.
Who has other questions for Tim? Councilman Brennan.
I guess I do. You know, when we when this plan got put together, there were a number of features in it that made it appealable for federal funding. There weren't things that anybody necessarily on council or in the city was advocating for, but because there were things in there like the roundabouts or the, whatever we're calling them, and there were multimodal transportation options built in to support, you know, future transportation options or whatever. My concern is at what point when we start pulling back on some of these areas, does the project no longer meet what we got all the federal funding for? You know, if we were to say no roundabouts, for example, would that kill the federal funding support? If everything else stayed in, or is that going too far?
So, to your point, I mean, the roundabouts they were a big part of the project application. What you see up here, to me, would still meet the intent of the application, because I think the intent of the application, not to dwell on safety, but was an access management project. That's how it got funded. So, you know, every time you put in a grant application, you're keying in on, I'm just gonna be honest with you, you're keying in on certain points. You know, you're keying in on things that make your application stand out. In this particular instance, it was access management and safety. So the roundabouts are a big part of that. So you know, to just get rid of the roundabouts would be, to me, would be like absolutely change the character of the project. To me, if you were to look at this one, this is a good compromise because it's still an access management project. It's still kind of eliminating that chicken lane where, you know, you kind of got a free for all, people going every which direction. So it still meets that intent. So I don't feel like this is a project that we would need to go back to the committee and say, hey, we made these changes. And I will say this too, every project that we've ever got federal funds on, especially the trails, there's changes, you know, they may shorten up a little bit, they may lengthen a little bit. I mean, as long as you're keeping the general, you know, goal of the application, you know, people aren't going back and saying, hey, I made this change to the application. What do you think? I will tell you this too, there is a big push right now at MARB and MoDOT and Federal Highway to spend your funds. So it's kind of interesting. They're actually like almost like looking for projects to put funds on. My point being is this, is I don't think they're really looking at going back. They're looking at getting projects done, moving forward. So I don't know if I answered your question, but the roundabouts are definitely a big part of this. I do think that this would meet the intent of the application, but I'm not standing here saying that this is, I'm presenting it and making sure that you have the information. I think this needs to be shown along with cost estimate that I put up there, because $1 million is not a small amount from October, you know, so it's a good time to just put it all out there. And as we put this together, we're also too, we haven't had our last public meeting that we talked about doing. So, I mean, my intention would be is to have that public meeting probably right after the first of the year, so that we can be ready for a project, you know, for a funding package. And then there's still timing on the funds. As I just said, you know, Federal Highway and MoDOT is really pushing people to get their projects done. And we've already requested a 1-year extension. So to the city manager's point, I just want to get it all out there now, because I'd like to get a design contract in your hands as well, so we can start kind of digging into this and really get what I think would be a cool project going if you think so.
Other questions, comments for Tim?
Mayor,
Yes.
if I may. First of all, get this one thing off my chest, that I understand things change with AT, contract or financing possibly, but one of the most important things for city council is that there's no surprises and that we manage expectations. You know, and while I understand the way that this is flowed time-wise with AT, I get that. But just kind of like the heads up, I can't tell you how many people have come up to me and said, well, you know, hey, what's going on in Gladstone? Anything new in Gladstone? We're funding Gladstone. I've been telling out of this North Oak project. So we threw the best thing out there and we came back with potentially something else that wasn't very good at managing expectations. And that's really neither here nor there. On the roundabout, we talked about building the 250 feet to the west of Oak Street. Then why do we feel that is entirely necessary? And do you have a cost for that portion?
I do, it's about $100,000. And really, Councilman Smith, what that is that access to that parcel. So if we go through and do an access management project, we prefer that they not have another driveway cut on the North Oak Trackway. So the 250 feet, $100,000 to answer your question, and then that would be the access to that parcel.
And do we feel we need, I mean, that's my question, I guess, is do we feel we need to actually build it to, you know, to restrict it like what you're talking about? And that can be part of the planning and approval process, can't it? I mean, I know it's only $100,000, but we're talking about only this and only that. $100,000 would fix a lot of potholes. And I'm just saying that, you know, we control that because we own the property, correct?
Correct.
We also control the planning and the permitting process. So do we actually need to physically build it in order for that to happen? And maybe I'm just throwing that out as a question for y'all to kick around. Big guidance, so.
Yeah, I think actually identifying where that curb cut in and what we've had discussions with, some developers, on that property and they're kind of in a hold until we figure out what we do with this project because they can't lay out where their stuff would fit on that property, not knowing exactly where the access is. And so whether we move in at 250 feet or not, to Tim's point, we definitely need to know where the entrance is and how that lot is gonna look, so they can move forward with what they were planning on doing.
Yeah, I agree with that, but you don't have to build it to do that, is all I'm saying. You have, you know, engineers all over the world who are drawing stuff on plats and whatnot, and you see it right here on these yourself. That's my only point. Can we do it without actually spending $100,000 to build it? They're gonna draw plans, you know, it's gonna happen. So I understand what you're saying, but I don't know that, you know, it's a practical thing to do, or the necessary thing to do to build it in order to show them what's gonna go on. They're gonna be drawing plans off the same plats that we're gonna be showing. That's my only point.
Yeah, I think we could definitely continue with the plan without doing the 250 feet, if that's the question. I just think that we have to know what the lot is gonna lay out and look like. That's all it is.
Right. You know, the other thing is, and you know, when I first saw this, I was hell bent on saying, look, you sold this on the big, not sold this. You presented this really nice project and we just need to figure out a way to finance it and do it. And Bob, if we need to talk about the financing aspect of it, then, you know, I think that brings a lot more to the table. If it means that we can save $75,000 a year and we can maybe commit to do residential roads, for example, then maybe that has something to say. If maybe we can at least tentatively design and try to get some right of way if we ever want to build that roundabout in 70th Terrace down the road. You know, so some of those things I think really are all based on what you're needing to tell us about additional funding to come out of TST, is what it seems like. I think my preference would be obviously to build the whole doggone thing the way we saw it. If it's not feasible to do that, then maybe we build what we can now, but we at least plan a little bit ahead, you know, for the next. I mean, this project is generational. Okay, it's going to outlive all of us, and it's going to outlive all of our grandkids. It's a big deal. Okay, so I want to be sure that we consider it that way also. That's all.
Okay. We certainly understand that, and again, we reiterate this. What we're looking at is just an option, and I wanted to put that before you because when we start putting this package together, some of these variables may or may not come together, like road district funding and stuff like that, which could impact this. the ATA contract, deciding what we want to do with that, the impact is, and where we end up with the financing package as far as interest rate, and how we put that together may impact this. But what I didn't want to do is not have an alternative plan B and waste any more time in design when we're sitting there trying to put the COP together. I just assume know within the next, month and a half or 2 months, what exactly this project's gonna be. And I think we can get some real answers, to what the financing is gonna look, what the construction costs are gonna be, and how much of a commitment we can get from the road district. Hopefully get an idea of where ATA is gonna be, so we can make some decisions on that. And that just is a flexibility. As I talked to the finance director today, we basically now have $1.8 million of spending in TSP that we use on various projects. This takes us down to about 1.5, 1.6, which would include usually what we have is $1 million worth of street improvements. And then we have sidewalks on top of that, street lights, and then the ATA contract. So that's kind of where we're at, taking into account what the debt service would be on something like that.
Well, let me be perfectly clear. You doing this and you bringing it forward was a responsible thing to do. I don't want to debate that for a fact. I commend you for that.
Tim, I have just a quick question on those medians that I know this is just a design, this is just a sketch, but what could that be? What could that look like? Is that a green space? Is that concrete? Is that?
When we were just, and we did not spend a huge amount of time, so please don't think that we went off on a tangent to just create, but we thought, let's put our heads together.
Right.
I envision it as green space or landscaping or something, not just concrete, because
Right.
that's what's out there.
Right.
And so that's what we discussed is a more green, soft feel and not the, concrete everywhere that it is now.
Not unlike what we have on 70th Street as we're coming, if you're coming off from the bank by Summit, we've got some of those medians there,
It'd be similar to that.
something like that. Okay,
Yes.
that helps. I need a picture. Thanks.
Regarding these medians, and obviously, there's a lot of median there. And in my opinion, I don't think that we can manage those in-house. And so what's the plan there to manage those medians and make sure that they stay nice?
Yeah, point taken. Actually, that is a lot to care for on the, typically it's been a challenge for us.
Mhm.
So, I certainly understand where you're coming from. It's a consideration. We have to take.
Any further questions for Mr. Nevercall? Tim, thank you. I know
Thanks,
this
Tim.
has taken a lot of additional effort and expertise and time, and I concur with Councilman Smith. We need to see all the options, so I do appreciate it. Thank you. So we're done for our study session. So we have about 10 more minutes before the council meeting will start. So we'll take that time and we'll start at 7:30. I'll call to order the Monday, December 11 meeting of the Gladstone City Council. It's great to have an audience. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate it. Madam Clerk, please note that all council members are present and we have a quorum. Will you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 4 is the approval of the agenda. City Manager.
Yeah, Mayor, we would request that, from the regular agenda, that the bill number 2338 be removed from the agenda. The Kansas City Area Transportation Authority has asked that we change the terms on that. So we'll be working on that for the next council meeting.
Okay, we'll consider item number 11 removed from the agenda. Any other additions or corrections to the agenda? If not, it will stand as amended. Item number 5 is the approval of the November 13, 2023 closed city council meeting minutes.
Mayor Moore,
Councilman Mallons.
I move to approve the minutes from the November 13th, 2023 closed city council meeting.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the November 13 closed city council meeting. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes are approved. Item number 6 is the approval of the November 13, 2023 regular city council meeting minutes.
Mayor Moore,
Councilman Mallons.
I move to approve the minutes from the November 13th, 2023 regular city council meeting.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the November 13, 2023 regular city council meeting. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes from the regular city council meeting of November 13 are approved. Item number 7 is communications from the audience. This is a time during every council meeting when we invite members of the public to come before us with an item that is not on the agenda this evening. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to approach the council this evening? With all this crowd and nobody wants to speak? Okay.
Careful what you wish for.
Item number 8 is communications from the city council. We will begin with Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Mayor Moore. I have nothing this evening.
All right. Councilman Mallons.
Just like to extend to the city staff, city council, to everybody that's here, happy holiday wishes. Travel safe if you travel.
Thank you. Councilman Garnos.
Nothing, Mayor, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Spallo.
I'm good.
Nobody wants to speak. Well, I will.
Okay.
I just wanted to thank everyone who came out to the mayor's Christmas tree lighting. I think it was a great event. Councilman Mallons did a great job with the weather. And I want to thank all the individuals who have so generously contributed so far. We're supporting Feed Northland Kids and Gladstone Neighbors Helping Neighbors. So every dollar, and it can just be $1, and that people give will go toward making these programs that these 2 deserving organizations have possible for people here in the Northlands. So it's not too late to contribute. So please know that there's a sign in the foyer, the community center, and you can go to the city website and very easily make a contribution. So I'm so grateful for everybody's help. We're doing really well on our fundraising. I had the opportunity to go to AJ Farm on Saturday for pictures with Santa, and I was told that they had close to 300 visitors. So that event has become really a popular event for the Friends. So I know that they look forward to that and have a good time every year. Councilman Garnos and I were at the ribbon cutting for our new coffee shop in Gladstone, Rise and Shine Coffee. And so that was a big attended event this week. So I hope you all take advantage of some of the great coffee and some of the great pastries that they're serving at Rise and Shine. And then I had the opportunity to present the city's proclamation for a member of the community center staff, one of the original members of the staff, right, Justin? Mark, who retired this past week. So I think that he leaves, what, 3 people now who are the original members. So it was a great event and he enjoyed it. And so that was a fun thing to do. So I think that's my comments. So we'll turn to city manager.
I actually have a few too.
Good.
Just a reminder, to the residents that all future council meetings will take place at the Gladstone Community Center until the city hall renovation is completed by next spring. If anybody, looks in through the windows, they'll see, there's been significant demolition done inside City Hall. And we're all kind of spread out amongst the city right now, trying to still function here. But I will say that the meetings here, it hasn't been easy. And I want to thank Director Murphy and Community Center staff, the IT staff, Becky Jarrett, Chris Keller for getting this all put together. I was really surprised when I walked in today, and it was beautiful. It was just right. So also remind people that the candidate filing is open for the general municipal election for City Council. Taking place on April 2nd. 2 council seats available, and filing can be completed at the Gladstone Police Headquarters, and the deadline for filing is Tuesday, December 26th. I want to mention that the next council meeting is actually on December 25th, and so we're planning to have City Hall closed by then. So we're trying to move things on the agenda and move them up and then move them back to try to not have that second meeting in December. So we'll see how that goes for us. And as a reminder, if the council meeting, I'll mention it now, if we don't have the December 25th meeting, the City Hall is actually closed on December 25th and January 1st. So city staff will be here. And that's all I have. Thank you.
And I just want to add my thoughts to the city staff has been very brave and very kind to move around all over the city. And I appreciate their patience in dealing with the renovation, and also our patrons, our residents who have to go here and yon to whether it's court or whether it's at the police headquarters. We tried to make it as easy as possible, but I know this is going to try everyone's patience. So thank you for being patient, and I promise that this will be an amazing transformation. It's much needed, and we're all looking forward to a great transformation for City Hall. Okay, as a part of this item on our agenda, we want to go through the board and commission appointments. So every year, the City Council interviews people who want to sign up for a new board and commission. And we also go through the process of reappointing people who want to serve, to continue their service on a board. So I think probably what we will do at the beginning here is I will read the names of those who have been appointed. And then we've got a presentation at the end of this. We'll have a presentation for those who are retiring. So and I will ask you, I see a number of you here in the audience, and thank you so much for being here. Those who are currently serving on boards and commissions. You know, we place a lot of value on our boards and commission members, and we count them as city ambassadors, and we count on them giving the city council a lot of input for the decisions we make. So these are really important positions, and we appreciate all of the effort and energy and time that these boards and commission members put toward the city. So thanks to all of you in advance. So when I read your name, if you could stand just so that everybody will know who you are. So, and you don't have to stand for the whole thing. You could stand and then sit. So a new appointment to BZA, or the Board of Zoning Adjustment, is Cody McElroy. For our capital improvements program, reappointment of Pete Hall, reappointment of Bev Johnson, and reappointment of Bob Wilson. For Code Board of Appeals, reappointment of Kathy Timmerman. Environmental Management Advisory Committee, reappointment of Jim Butler Jr., reappointment of Jared Cole. For the Neighborhood Commission, reappointment of Chris Spurgeon. I saw Chris out here. Thank you, Chris. New appointment, Robin Downing. And new appointment of Kathleen Depler Stearns, and she's ill tonight and couldn't join us. For Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, reappointment of Scott Hanover. Reappointment of Tammy McPherron. And reappointment of Jocelyn Rivard. For Planning Commission, reappointment of Gary Markinson. Reappointment of Cameron Nave. Saw Cameron out here. And a new appointment of Joseph Brancato to a partial term. Thanks to all of you. For the Tax Increment Financing Commission, reappointment of Dave Stanley. I think that's it. So thanks to all of you again. Give them a big. And we had 5 individuals who serve on boards and commissions who retired from their positions this year. And I think 3 of those are with us, and I have plaques. So I will ask them to come forward. We've got Aaron Brungart from the Board of Zoning, Sarisa Jackson from Arts, and James New from Planning Commission. On down. Sarisa has served on the Arts Commission since October of 2006 to December of 2023. Woo-hoo! Thank you so much for all you've done for arts. We appreciate it very much. Aaron has served on BZA from January 2018 to December of 2023. Amazing. Thank you so much. And last but not least, James New, who has served on the Planning Commission from January 2014 through December 2023. Wow. Lots of decisions. Thank you so much.
It'll be wrong.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Mr. City Manager, we already let you have your comments out of order, didn't we?
Yeah.
All right, that's all right. That's all right. We'll move to item number 10, which is the consent agenda. Madam Clerk, could you please explain and read the consent agenda?
A consent agenda allows the city council to consider and approve routine items of business without discussion. Any member of the city council, the city staff, or the public may request removal of any item from the consent agenda, request that it be considered under the regular agenda if discussion or debate of the item is desired. Items not removed from the consent agenda will stand approved upon motion by any council member, second unanimous vote to approve the consent agenda as published or modified. Consent agenda. Resolution R-23-81, a resolution authorizing change order number 2 in the amount of $62,978.99 to the contract with Metro Asphalt Incorporated for the FY24 Mill and Overlay Program Project, CP 2406. Resolution R-23-82, a resolution authorizing change order number 1 in the amount of $64,800 to the contract with Ace Pipe Cleaning Incorporated for the fiscal year 24 sewer cleaning and televising project SP 2489. Resolution R-23-83, a resolution authorizing acceptance of a proposal from American Equipment Company for the purchase and installation of snow removal equipment in the total amount of
$224,965. Resolution R-23-84, a resolution authorizing acceptance of a proposal from Olathe Ford for the purchase of 3 Ford F-650 dump trucks in a total amount of $236,490. Consider financial report for 4 months ending October 31st, 2023.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes an item removed from the consent agenda for discussion? Anyone on council? Staff?
Mayor Moore,
Councilman Smith?
I move we approve the consent agenda as submitted.
Second.
A motion's been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent agenda is approved. Since we have not, we're not doing item number 11, is there any other business to be brought before the council this evening? I'd just like to extend a wish to everybody, as Councilman Mallons did, for a great holiday season. So thank you for being here. Please come back. We enjoyed having you here. We are adjourned.